Now, Clay Travis, Outkick founder, Tomi Lahren, host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless, and an Outkick and Fox News contributor, and also Kevin Walling, former Biden 2020 campaign surrogate and vice president at HG Creative. Okay. Clay, I want to start with you, because what we just heard from Ralph Norman is this sort of fiscal purity, right? They want a lot of these conservatives to have single subject spending bills. But then, you know, if you break down the details, if you're going to stick to your guns on something like that, how do you get something like reconciliation across, which by its very nature is, you know, it's an omnibus, so to speak. It's all sort of packaged together. Can you afford, as a, you know, with a two-seat majority, to be purists on these issues? No. And I give credit here to Donald Trump because I think this is an immense victory for him. We saw what has happened the past couple of times when we've tried to go through the process of getting a House Speaker. There was one Republican, Thomas Massie, who was willing to say, I will not vote for Donald Trump's wishes in the House of Representatives. Ultimately, everybody else got behind Mike Johnson, I believe, because Donald Trump got behind Mike Johnson and said, he's my guy. He's who I want as Speaker. And what I would say in general is this. It's what the Senate should do with all the cabinet nominees and all of the Trump-appointed recommendations as well, because elections have consequences. Barack Obama was right about that. And if you want Trump to hit the ground running, and I do, and I know Tommy does, and I imagine a lot of Democrats, like the guy on the far right, want as much turmoil as possible, because we got to...
The budget are ending endless wars and endless funding of endless wars. I think that's okay. And to the point of it took an extra hour, I think the American people are going to forget about this by tomorrow. They're still very excited about the Trump inauguration. Republicans are going to always be like herding cats. Again, frustrating thing, but also the beautiful thing about this party. Yeah, I mean, the headline at the end of the day is that Mike Johnson did get it on the first ballot. But, Kevin, I want to ask you, because Hakeem Jeffries, in his speech, said the Democrats would work with anybody to secure the border. And then Mike Johnson needled him a little bit and said, you're going to vote for the border wall? I mean, should Democrats vote for building the border wall and some of these issues that, you know, really could be bipartisan, and then maybe the margins would become less important? I mean, this is what the election results produced.
Yeah, Jackie, I mean, I'd love to see, this new Congress bring back the bipartisan deal that was negotiated with more funding for the border wall, more funding for border.
The ground, and we got to get a lot done in 2025 because 2026 is an election year. House and Senate have to get in order, and they have to get moving. This is a very good sign that it took one ballot for the House to pick a speaker. Yeah, Tommy, what is your sense about what this moment says about the president-elect's strength and sort of his control over the conference? Is this something that we're going to see continue, or do you think that it's likely that at some points it breaks down?
Listen, President-elect Donald Trump's endorsement is the only endorsement in the Republican Party that matters, and the American people made that very clear on November 5th by gaining in demographics that he had previously not been as strong in. So the American people want Donald Trump's agenda. They want his will. They want him to hit the ground running. But there's a frustrating and beautiful thing about the Republican Party. We don't exist in a monolith. There's a lot of differing opinions. There's going to be some drama, some pushback. And as long as those things are about conservatism and the hill they want to die on is maybe balancing
patrol agents and pass that on day one, next week, early on. You've seen Democrats willing to compromise and come together on key issues when they have a seat at the table. And I think that's why that relationship between Mike Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries is so important and is so good that they clue each other in. That you saw a little confab earlier on the floor between the two of them. And you saw a Hakeem Jeffries speech where he was very much engaged in bipartisan efforts. And I hope that will continue. Not to Clay's point, I don't want to see chaos. I want to see this country move forward, speaking as the Democrat, and hopefully these two will come together and figure out some ways. Because, Jackie, to your previous point with Ralph Norman, they're going to need some Democratic votes on a lot of these key issues.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting Congress to watch. Thank you guys for being here. Our breaking coverage continues next.